first impressions of Kellen Moore leading a team out at this practice. One of my low key, like, I talked to this on the sideline with someone at the practice too. I thought it was you, but it must not have been.
Could have
like
been.
One of my first impressions was kind of like, man, he recognizes. Oh, I was talking to Doug Mouton. Me and Doug Mouton were talking about it, and Doug pointed it out too. Like, it was impressive to notice that they recognize that about Trevor after just a minimal exposure. Because, like, I really think that he's somebody that struggles with confidence, and knowing that, I think you have to coach everybody a little bit differently. And I think recognizing that, okay, this guy isn't the type of guy that's like, I'm going to doubt him and make him fight for it. I think Trevor's a guy that, like, if he gets, like, behind a little bit, maybe because of all the bumps and stuff in his career, that he's someone that you could lose him kind of quickly. And I think you have to put him in a spot and let him sit there. I think it's the same thing that happened last year. I was impressed that they recognize that.
That's
Maybe it's wrong, but I just think that, like, you have to know him as an individual. And that was, like, something that kind of stood out to me, like, that they're, like, seeing this kind of clearly right now. And, like, I think that's a good way to do it. Radens might be someone that, you know, has been a starter, has been a backup. Trevor feels like someone that's maybe, and he's talked about his confidence issues.
Oh, no question.
Like, so I think to me that's like, let him do this and then lose it, as opposed to, like, maybe, I think, you know, typically you want to be in a system where people are earning every opportunity, earning every snap. The best players play, but, like, I think there's some guys that, like, you might not get to their best if you don't just kind of handle them with that.
I mean, we could get into discussions like that about what they're letting Kendre Miller do with his blank slate, what they're letting Spencer Rattler do, getting the ones reps all week, and not, you know, and immediately recognizing that he's earned something. No question.
Hit on that real quick. Like, our information is that Spencer got the first team reps all week.
Yeah, he hinted toward rotating. He said Jake got first team reps, but it has not so far been a thing where this is your day, this is your day, this is your day. That's not how they went through last week. Maybe they rotated guys in and they all got to throw to Chris Olave. Maybe they all got to take some snaps behind the first team offensive line. But so far Rattler has gone first.
Yes.
Maybe they intend to start, but this is so far has not been one of those every other day job battles
as we understand. Like, how we would go out and watch it and say this is first team reps, this isn't.
But my first impressions of Kellen Moore, and this is me projecting, this is confirmation bias for sure, but we've seen some things that he's less comfortable doing. Like, he did not want to be the guy having to answer the questions about what happened with Derek Carr in a press conference setting. Anything in a press conference setting, almost, like, he feels like, you know, he's like, I'm going to try to say as little as possible, you know, get out of here. But he looks like this is his element. This is what he wants to be doing. And he even said that. He's like, there's a, what did he say? There's an element to the job in the first 3 months where you're, like, stuck in an office, you're building your staff, you're evaluating draft picks. He had a term for it that I thought was really good. And he's like, this is what I want to be doing. I want to be on the field, lining guys up, running plays, coaching guys, teaching guys, and it looks that way. I mean, this is what he wants to do. He wants to coach football. He doesn't want to be the CEO of the Saints. He wants to coach their offense, and I think you see it. I think you see the pep in his step, the bounce in his step. I think you see him working the entire offense. He's behind the offensive line. He's with the running backs. He's with the quarterbacks. He's with his assistant coaches or whatever. This is what's going to make or break him. One like aspirational person that I thought of was Kevin O'Connell. I think I saw a list the other day where somebody said, here's the top 8 coaches in the league, and they had Kevin O'Connell in it. And I thought, that's kind of how Kevin O'Connell struck me. Like, he never wowed me in a press conference. He got to his job pretty quickly. He was a backup quarterback who kind of rose the ranks quickly as a quarterback coach. And then he got to coaching football and doing a great job at it. And now people say he's a top 8 coach. That's like Kellen Moore's possible path to success, is just being a good offensive football coach. He's not going to come on and be Sean Payton right away. That's not, or Mike Tomlin. You know, if he's going to succeed, he's going to be Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah. And if he's going to succeed, he just has to be Kellen Moore. Like, just find your path to do it. But KOC is a good example. He's not like I don't know. He doesn't strike me as like a fire and brimstone type of guy. Like, there's different ways to do this. And one way to lead a room is just genuinely being smarter than everybody in it and displaying that every single day and making people better at what they do. And they can believe in you that way without necessarily like the verbal threat or whatever. Like, there's a lot of ways to get people to buy into your system. I just think they gotta have something they're defining in the players feel as success early on. And that could be wins. It could maybe not be wins. It could just be, feeling like the system's working and yeah, we're building this. It's getting there. It's going to be better. It's going to be better. It's going to be better. And then, it is. But there's a lot of different ways to get people to buy into what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, my impressions of Kellen Moore early on are pretty similar to yours. I think that he feels like he's out in his element out here. It feels like even at the podium, he's coming to his own a little bit more, probably because there's more true things to talk about within his realm. It's football. It's not, salary cap. It's not roster moves. It's not, this is where he's comfortable at. And then I think, a year from now, when you're back on those topics, having gone through it, like, I think he'll probably project a little bit different in some of that stuff too, as opposed to like a guy that got hired a week ago and now he's sitting here answering questions about Derek Carr and, not really having time to go through it or whatever. So yeah, I mean, definitely interesting, but I think he looks good out there. I like the way the practice was run. It seemed deliberate. It seemed pretty good pace. Saints had pretty good pace last year in their practices, especially in camp. So it's not like a shocking change. Special teams period seemed way shorter. Maybe it was just because it was an hour-long practice. So we'll kind of see how that goes before or down the road. It does seem like there was a lot of time spent on special teams before. And it's almost a practice stopper. It'll be interesting to see how they do it going forward. But yeah,